Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a brand new review of Ready to Love Season 4 Episode 10, True Colors. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you are back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you get anything out of the content. Now let's get into it if we gonna get into it. So when the episode first opens up, y'all remember last week, Camille was sitting there crying. So Camille is sitting there snotting with the waterworks and tells her main man, Cornelius, that he's not ready to love. Child, time for some self-elimination, girl. Go on, pack your little wigs up and everything else. It's time for you to go as well. He said, well, I mean, I can say that I'm surprised to hear that. What? I don't know how. Oh, child. I guess he thought those threats Camille made were going to hold up. Child, anybody worried about Camille? She ain't going to bust a grape. What you thought because she told them that she was going to fight them, that you were going to get a chance to stay? I don't think so. Moving forward. He's like, yeah, I'm really going to miss Camille. He said, I don't know if what we have is real. Meanwhile, Naim is being told that he is, in fact, ready to love. He said, I'm just going to lead with integrity and intention on who I'm interested in. Well, good luck, sir. So back on the other side, Camille is sitting there. The tears have dried. And she's like, so, I'm self-eliminating with you. When I tell y'all he took the biggest gulp. Say what now? He probably was thinking, dang, I thought when I got eliminated that would be it. Now here she come with me. Nope, you're wearing the necklace, so you have been sworn in, okay? Honey, it's Camille and Cornelius for life. Baby, you have been initiated. Camille and Cornelius for life. She said, there's nobody else that I'd rather be with. He's my numero uno. And she's standing there with this bouquet of flowers looking like she's at a wedding reception or something. I'm like, girl, you did all that crying knowing that you were going to self-eliminate? And the Oscar goes to, she deserves an Oscar. Something is wrong with you, Camille. Something is wrong with you. Girl, moving forward. She's like, he's the reason I'm out. Cornelius, honey, we cannot thank you enough. Child, we cannot thank you enough, my dear. He said, you sure? Maybe he had to make sure. He was trying to get her to rethink her choices, honey. So then he says in his confessional, I don't know how things are going to go with me and Camille or where this journey will end. It's looking like it's not never ending, okay? Because the fact that she eliminated with you when it's looking like you're not really interested, like, girl, read the room. So she's like, hopefully we can come back and say we married with some kids. And baby Cornelius probably scared as hell. He may need to get a restraining order. Like something ain't right, y'all. Camille trying to make it down the aisle this time. And poor Cornelius, honey, he's trapped. He said, my biggest regret is I didn't make any connections with the other ladies. Baby, this woman just self-eliminated for him. And that was your biggest regret? That told me all I needed to know, honey. He is not interested, child. He's just not that into you. He said, I'm just going to hope for the best. Cornelius, you're being held against your will. Blink 2 times, like Aisha said, if you need some help. Child, they get into the car and drive away into the darkness. Moving forward. In the next scene, Shiloh is in the kitchen throwing down and Phil is in there trying to get a little taste and get some one-on-one time. And so he said spending time with the other ladies was him not being able to really connect with Shiloh. Yeah, because you're spread thin, buddy. I mean, let's start narrowing it down. And when I look at the two of them, they actually look kind of cute together. But, child, I'm watching Phil. Anywho, so they sit down to play a game called Love Languages. So she's like, I love asking questions. I think questions is a great way to get to know someone. Okay, how else would you get to know them if you didn't ask them questions? Like maybe it's just me. So she wants to know where she stands. So she asked the first question. She said, tell me how you would describe me to other people. He said, beautiful. No. We want to know how you would describe her outside of the physicality to other people. So he said, you have a way with words that gets people to open up. I mean, it could be a little bit annoying at times, but in a good way, When has annoying ever been categorized as good? Shiloh, honey, I'm speaking directly to you, honey. You better be vigilant because Phil is switching up on you. Ever since Sydney has been showing him some attention, now all of a sudden he started acting funny style. I hate a man acting brand new. Child, knowing she wouldn't even look at you twice if you were not in this setting. Moving forward. So then she said, in what way can we improve our relationship? So here he go. Who made this game? She said, okay, don't worry about it. I'm going to ask that and I'm going to answer it. You can be more vocal and more direct in your responses. Yes, because you're coming off a bit childish right now. I mean, maybe it's just me, but the way he's just grinning and evading questions and not really answering, it's very unattractive. Child, it couldn't be me. She said, I would love some grand gestures from you in public. Girl, that's not going to happen, especially with Sydney in them little bit-toe dresses. Girl, goodbye. He skipped right on past it. He said, what are you most frightened to tell me? She said, well, I'm hesitant to tell you that I really deeply care for you. I mean, it's scary to tell you that I choose you. I choose to deepen our connection. Shiloh. No, ma'am, honey, you're giving Tyrone. I think you better call Tyrone. Shout out to Erykah Badu. Girl, no. Don't tell him that you're all in. Like, we gotta get a feel for him first. He's acting funny. You don't see that? Oh, no, ma'am, honey. So she tells him that. So he leans in and gives her this pity peck. And I was like, what kind of kiss is that? I did not like that kiss at all. You didn't say anything back when she said that she wanted to deepen her connection with you. He got Sydney on the brain. Phil probably ain't never been this popular in his life. Child, I can almost bet money. Moving forward. She's like, why did you rush that? No, don't ask him that. If he wanted to get into it as he got into it, he would have. He rushed it because that is him letting you know, I feel you, but not all the way. Okay, girl, open your eyes up. So in her confessional, she's like, I'm a little bit taken aback by the kiss. I mean, maybe he's trying to show me more. Oh, Shiloh, girl. That was a kiss to shut up those questions. He doesn't want to answer any more questions. He's like, her saying that she really wanted to connect with me. I mean, it humbled me. So, I didn't want to not show her that affection in that moment. I didn't want to not kiss her, but I don't want to commit to her yet. Well, why didn't you tell her that? You had a moment to tell her that. Why didn't you just say it? Instead of sitting up there looking crazy, mouth wide open. Child, this is a fool. Phil playing games. She just said be more direct and you kiss her to avoid what she's saying. Waste of time. Basura. Moving forward. In the next scene, Daddy, Dontae, and Aisha, they go for a little date. And Dontae said, there's some unfinished business with Zadia because now he's feeling Aisha. So Aisha is singing his praises. Honey, y'all know how she like to do. He's just so great. Baby, Aisha gonna big up her man if she don't do nothing else. So then she's telling him how she hated to step off her square, but she had to stand up for herself as it relates to Zadia and those other women. She said, I've never been anything but positive, so why are you doing this? Like, why are you doing that? She kept trying to bait me. Aisha, listen. Some people hate positivity. It's as simple as that. Some people hate your energy. Some people hate your aura. Some people hate what you bring to the room. They just hate it. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's hard to explain, but that's just how some people are. Girl, please. And plus, she sees you as a threat. She was about to go in, but Dontae was like, nope. Okay, wait a minute. We're here for this. He brought her on back. And I like that because I was like, you know what? He may be able to level her out because when she's getting all up in arms, he'll be like, look, babe, just calm down. Okay, now I really ain't too much feeling the 3 kids and the 3 mothers and, all that. The ready-made family, just add water. But in that moment, I did like the way he handled that. So he's telling her, he's extremely interested in seeing what it looks like between them. She said, I know Zadia is still in the race, but he knocked on my door and I let him in. Okay, girl, if you like it, I love it. Moving forward. Then we hear Dontae tell us that he needed to resolve some things between him and Zadia because she did some things that he didn't like. In the next scene, Frank and Miss Stay Right, Mumin, they're strolling, holding hands, and he said they decided to go for a walk at the National Mall. So the chemistry is growing, but he's still feeling Sydney. Mumin, you in this black? Yes, ma'am. Come on, body, looking beautiful. Mumin was stepping out this episode. I said, look at all that melanin, baby. Get into it if you're going to get into it. So he starts giving her a history lesson. Okay, Professor Shoulders. Charlie started telling her, this is what Martin Luther King said his I Have a Dream speech. If you went to elementary school, you'd know that. Like, Frank, boy. So she was like, at this point, me and Walter were not working out, so I'm going to be putting all of my eggs in Frank's basket. So she said she just wants to focus on Frank for the rest of the journey. I don't know if that's a good idea, sis, but go on, set yourself off. So he walks over there with some ice cream, right? And she's like, let me taste yours. Girl, stop eating off his spoon or from his mouth. Like y'all did the same thing on that little double date. Stop it. Do y'all be sharing like that when you first get to know somebody in the middle of a panini? Oh, no, ma'am, honey. Eating off his spoon on this casual date and whatnot. Oh, child, y'all know how I am. Oh, no, ma'am. So then he brings out this golf ball with the date written on it of their first date. And that really run her over. Well, it don't take much, child. Anything you say to Mumeem, she be like, oh, my God. Girl, it's crazy. So she feels like that he's being mindful. She said nobody else has done anything like that on the journey. Corey changed your tire, sis. You don't remember? He changed that tire and you fell in love, child. So they're having a conversation about where their connections are and their intentions. And so she tells him that she wants to park with him. He's like, well, I like what I'm seeing, but I've connected with someone else. So for me, I want to see all the angles and then proceed with the right one. Well, honey, at least he was honest in that regard. And I appreciated that. I'm like, okay, he's being honest. He's letting her know, listen, although I like you, I'm also eyeing Sydney over here. I feel like the connections that Sydney has are very physical. I don't know if it's because her love language is physical touch or what it is, but it seems like the men that she's connected with are more so connected to that body. Okay. Moving forward. She said, I've realized that I want Frank. So now Frank is slowly realizing that I'm the one. I mean, that's what's happening. Really? Last week, someone told me that Mumeem and Camille were cousins, and that statement solidified it. Girl, just as nutty as a fruitcake. Moving forward. In the next scene, Dontae goes for a date with Zadia. Baby, this is where it's about to get good. Child, y'all come closer, okay? That was the appetizer. Now here's the entree. So Dontae goes for a date with Zadia to let her know where he stands, right? So he's like, she said going into the date that she's completely high-strung because Aisha came out of left field. Sweetheart, you're worried about Aisha going into your date with Dontae? If you have something to say to him about your connection, shouldn't you be going in there talking to him about your connection? Why are you worried about Aisha? We need to only be concerned about ourselves. So she was like, he went ghost, and that is not okay. It was the attitude you exhibited during the trip. Like, why are you confused? When he tried to approach you, you blew him off and acted like you didn't want to be bothered. So he in turn acted like he didn't want to be bothered. What did you think he was going to do? Sit there the entire weekend and just twiddle his thumbs waiting on you and Naeem to get done? Girl, please. So he starts asking about the weekend. He says, so how you feeling? She's like, not good. So she says she feels like he abandoned her over the weekend. Lady, you were walking around laser focused on Naeem. She said, there was a lot of confrontation and deliberation. No, you mean jealousy. There was a lot of jealousy in deliberation. She was like, I went in and I felt unprotected. He said, unprotected? Part of this process is me connecting with other people. Right. Okay, she wants options, but she don't want you to have no options. Child, that ain't making no sense. And truth be told, she's pissed that it was Aisha. That's the real issue. She's like, that's fine, but you didn't communicate to me, and I didn't know what I was walking into. What is he supposed to tell you? I'm lost. Nobody knew his connection was with Aisha because they were only having phone conversations. They were never able to go on dates. Now, I know sometimes production sets up the dates or whatever happens, but nobody knew. You weren't the only one that was unaware. So she's like, he's talking in this little low voice that nobody can ever hear. Well, you like that little low voice that nobody could ever hear with his 3 kids and his 3 children's mother, and all of a sudden you don't like it because he like Aisha. Girl, goodbye. She was like, and he's acting like he didn't ignore me for 3 days. He said, I could say the same thing. She's like, my thing is that Aisha said you rubbed her down. If any man would have rubbed me down, I would have told you. But why? Why would you have told him that? Like, this is the premise of the show, to date other people. Like, what good would that do? The connection is the connection regardless. He said, I don't understand how to protect you when I go into deliberation. I don't know what she's going to say. Like, how am I supposed to do that? I don't feel safe at this point. Well, you shouldn't feel safe, honey, because it's about to be on. So Zadia is like, the last 2 days you've planned cooking and massages with Aisha, and I'm just left in the wind. Why? You sure are worried about the next woman. In your words, it seems real haterish. So he's like, look, it looks like you clearly made your choice. He said, I'm not going to play second fiddle. He said, I pursued you, but I'm not going to keep knocking when nobody is letting me in. He said, it just happened organically. It is what it is. She said, so what are you telling me? He said, I'm feeling Aisha. She said, oh, now you're communicating to me. He said, yes. She said, and that right there is that bullshit. Okay? Oh, child. She said, did you ever care about me? Because it doesn't seem that way. Girl, you don't know that man and you don't care about that man. You just don't want to lose to Aisha, point blank and the period. He said, what do you think? She said, you know what? You have fun with Aisha and her long talks about nothing. And she gets up and she kind of pushes his shoulder right before she walks off. And she was like, you have fun with her and her long talks about absolutely nothing. Girl, I have not worn a slip since I was 8 years old. And my grandmother used to take me to church and she used to be like, make sure you wear a slip. You don't want the little boys looking underneath your dress. But girl, your slip is clearly showing. Why are you so press? Shout out to Cardi B. Why are you so pressed about Aisha? Like, why do you feel the need to bring Aisha up when she clearly isn't bothered by you? Then she gets up and walks away, right? Look, he walked away and he decided to go ahead and order his vegan risotto. And it actually looked good too. I was like, oh, that look good. Baby, he done pissed her off so bad. She done took her shoes off and started walking barefoot during a panorama. I'm like, if that ain't gross, child, her nerves all the way bad. Do y'all hear me? So she's walking all the way down, honey. She's all the way to the parking lot and whatnot. He said, you know, all of a sudden I see her come back. He said, so I'm like, what is going on? She said, then I started thinking, I was walking away, but I started thinking he tried to play me. She said he never allowed me to explain where he stood with me. So I didn't like how he was mishandling me. Girl, what? Your actions proved where he stood with you. You just hate to admit defeat. So she came back standing over this man saying, this right here is effed up. Fine. If you choose somebody else, it's fine. Is it fine? Because it don't look fine. Okay, so I'm just trying to figure out, is it really fine? She's like, you will never second fiddle me. I just was about to choose your ass before the house too. He's like, so you would roll with me? She said, yes. Girl, please. This is given last season when Kyra couldn't choose between Jason and AJ, and she told Jason that she was about to choose him, and AJ, she was about to choose him, talking all crazy and looking all crazy, but he chose Liz because she was hemming and hawing. That's the same thing that you were doing, okay? When y'all had that conversation about narrowing it down, you had a whole fit because you didn't want to do that. Now we're here, and now this is happening. Like, it's giving very much deja vu. Baby, I swear it's deja vu. Shout out to Beyonce. Girl, goodbye. He said, but you didn't roll with me, though. She said, no, boo-boo. Why are you standing over this man? Why? And let me just say this. If the roles were reversed and a man was standing up, pointing his finger in her face and connected to her face, that is assault. Okay, you're getting physical. So they should have stepped in right at that moment and said, you know what, we're going to have to ask you to leave. You know, clearly things are becoming volatile. You're not ready to love. We're going to have to escort you out. Please stay separate. Like, girl, what is wrong with you? Now, if he would have been standing up over you, it would have been a whole problem. So she starts tapping his nose, telling him he showed his true colors this weekend. Girl, keep that pointy press-on nail out of people's face, okay? You're not respecting his space, his boundaries, like any of that. Like, you're coming undone, sis. Like, you're really coming undone. This is the name of the game. You have such a disdain for Aisha, you can't stomach him actually liking her over you. Like, it's really embarrassing. It really is. Like, your ego is bruised. That's what's happening. So he said, you finished? She said, no, you're fake. You're a fraud. Child, he let her walk right on away, honey. She did all that pointing and finger tapping and nose flicking and everything else. He let her walk right on away and proceeded to eat his Caesar salad. I'm like, okay, I know that's right. He handled that with such decorum because the lesser man would have cussed her out. Okay, that's how things turn physical. You don't touch each other. A man should not be putting his hands on a woman, and a woman should not be putting her hands on a man. He did absolutely nothing to warrant that. This is the way that this show is set up. And quiet as it's kept, had it been anybody else, she would not have had a problem. It was only because it was Aisha, and Aisha has challenged her in the past. And so now she's feeling threatened, and she's like, on top of you talking back to me, now you talking to my dude, who really I wasn't going to choose because I was going to choose Naim? Like, girl, so childish. She's like, and so in her little confessional, her little exit or whatever she was doing, she's like, you know, clearly Dontae's not ready to love. Girl, not you eliminating him. Child, her nerves so bad, child. She's telling him he's not ready to love. Ooh, child, he's ready to love. He's just not ready to love you. Moving forward. So she doing all this talking. I'm not about to play second fiddle. It's about playing the fiddle you want to be. Girl, what are you saying? Like, what are you saying? She's like, Aisha is dense and dumb. Have fun with your connection. Girl, all the name calling is pathetic. Okay, like, why are you calling her names? Actually, your behavior right here is dense and dumb. I mean, if we really want to be real, like it shows how insecure you are, and that little stunt you pull shows why you're still single. Moving forward. So in the confessional, Dontae is like, that's not how you handle conflict, and you putting your hands on somebody? Like, I got my risotto and I was just dumbfounded. Naim, honey, this is what an argument will look like between the two of you. Because if she goes off the handle over something like that, when that is the name of the game, imagine when you're in the thralls of a real argument. That's how she's going to behave. Child, you can sit there and act confused if you want to. Moving forward. In the next scene, Sabrina and Walter go on a date. These two actually always look good together. And he said, the trip was a mess, but, it's between Mumin and Sabrina. Sabrina made the decision easy. No, Mumin made the decision easy. When she decided she won't be bothered with you no more, by default, you went over there to Sabrina. Boy, please. So Sabrina was like, I'm really happy to have a one-on-one with you. He's like, well, man, you made it a no-brainer. Everything with you is just organic. Is it? Because just last week, her and her dance moves were a red flag. Walter, you full of it too, okay? You full of it too, and you're judgy, okay? And you're trying to mask your judginess with acceptance, honey, and I'm not buying it. So he tells her, you look like you used to be a madam. I wish a man would look at me and tell me I look like Heidi Fleiss. Baby, he would get cussed all the way out. How does a madam look? How does she look like that? She's like, well, you remember I used to be a dancer. Okay, Tina Turner, ready to be a Walter's private dancer? Girl, goodbye. So she tells him, she's like, I was bullied. And when I was 18 or 19, I just got a job at a gentleman's club. It gave me confidence. And I feel like I turned out to be a pretty fabulous person. He said, you're definitely fabulous. He's like, well, everybody has a past. So Sabrina tells us that Walter doesn't really reach out to her any other time, so she feels like he chose her by default. Honey, and did. He didn't stay right, that's for sure. He's definitely to the left, to the left. If Mumin was still interested, he would be over there singing off key with her. She said, when I see him, it's great, but I just feel like I don't want to rush into anything because someone says some nice things to me. I know that's right, Sabrina, honey. You ain't crazy. Moving forward. In the next scene, Sydney and Phil, they go out. He had food already ordered. She was like, well, I want to know something about you and Shiloh, because I know you have a connection with her. Now, this is my thing. With Sydney, he had all the words. Okay, he was opening up. I'm starting to feel like this is his MO. Because remember with Aisha, she was saying it was really easy to talk to Phil, and he was such a gentleman, and she was able to let her guard down. And I feel like with Shiloh, she has started to feel that way. Now here we are with Sydney. He said, my connection to Shiloh is strong, but there's always bumps in the road. He's like, what is up with you and Frank? Now with her, he's letting her know he has a strong connection to her and to Shiloh. But with Shiloh, mum's the word. Boy, she said, I really like Frank. His intentions are there, but I feel like I want to get to know you. So she's asking him questions. He's opening up and whatnot. So he tells her that he regrets not giving his mom grandkids. He said his mom was his best friend. He starts to get a little emotional, his confessional. He's really letting his walls down. She's like, I just really love the fact that he was vulnerable. So, it's annoying for Shiloh to bring things and pull things out of you, but it's okay for Sydney. So she's telling him to basically show her how he feels. She's like, I want you to just show me. So he leans in for a good old long kiss with her. Do y'all hear me? A long kiss. Phil, let me find out. He kissing all over her hand like that man on the Addams Family. Y'all remember when the dad on the Addams Family used to be kissing the mom all the way up and down her arm, and he used to be like, cara mia. Reminded me of the Addams Family. Gomez. Honey, I think his name was Gomez. Child, this is a fool. He has a stronger physical connection to Sydney. It's all about the physicalness, okay? It's all about the physicality. Shiloh seems really genuine. Sydney seems nice as well, don't get me wrong. But Phil is so excited that Sydney is giving him the time of day. Do y'all hear me? The fact that Sydney is giving him a chance, baby, he all over it. She's like, I feel really smitten, but I also have a connection with Frank. I don't really see it for Phil. Okay, he kind of jumped ship as soon as the sexier choice showed him any type of attention. And I don't like that. Moving forward. In the next scene, all the gentlemen meet at the Gentleman's Lounge in the Watergate Hotel. And Naim is giving us dashiki realness. Then nephew Tommy lets them know that the happy couple Camille and Cornelius are on their way home and they weren't ready to love. So then he asked about the trip. So Naim said, got a little explosive. Some words were exchanged. Tommy said, by who? Tommy. You already know by who. Remember you shut it down? Remember you were treating them like your daughters and you told them you didn't want to talk no more about it. You wanted to talk about who they were in love with. Tommy. Frank is giving him the rundown. Baby, when I tell you Frank ran it down, baby, Frank was telling it all. Naim was like, Aisha was naming people specifically so it could be perceived as an attack. Naim, were you present? She was not attacking them. Okay, she was going based off what they were saying. What are you talking about? He said, then Zadia and the other people, they were like saying what they were saying. So then Frank chimes in and he's like, when that alliance was created, the Brown Girl Squad, that's exactly what it was, an alliance. Honey, this is not Big Brother. You are so right, Frank. It was an alliance. So Tommy said, once you put that out there, what does that say to people that are lighter complected? Here go Naim. It was more so them vibing, and having good personalities. Which one of them had good personalities? Oh, okay. I'll wait. Oh, none of them? Oh, okay. That's what I thought. Moving forward. We're going to have to work on your discernment. Okay? So Tommy asks who gives them that maximum feeling. Walter said, Sabrina, and then he brings up that she was a stripper. That part was not needed. Why did you have to sit here in this space and say she was a stripper? That's not none of their business. If they watch it on TV and they hear it, that's fine. But nobody told you to go in here and disclose that she was a stripper. I thought that was tacky. You and your little piece and chain. Sure. So Dontae was like, Aisha. He said he made Zadia a top choice to pursue her. He said with Aisha, I wanted to be intentional about spending time with her at this trip. I brought the massage table. Honey, don't forget them silk pajamas, okay? He said, I made it a point to spend time with Aisha. So Naim said Zadia. Frank said Mumeem and Sydney. Phil said Shiloh and Sydney. He said, conversations with Sydney have been everything but surface level. She showed him something he didn't know he might like. Phil, shut up. Honey, I am not buying it. You're connecting with Sydney is you being shallow. I'm just saying, honey, I'm just calling a spade a spade. Like, I know him and Shiloh have talked about something other than surface level things, because Shiloh doesn't come across to me as someone that just sits around and talks about what angle she's going to take pictures at. Like, Phil, I'm watching you. Moving forward. So then nephew Tommy asks who they were not feeling. He said Dontae. So Dontae tells him that he went out with Zadia and they were conversing, and he told her that he's feeling Aisha, and she put her hands on him, poking his nose very aggressively. Now this was aggressive. Frank was over there looking like, I'm not surprised. It's safe to say that Frank does not see it for Zadia. Honey, this is a fool. He said, I just couldn't believe it. He was like, is this really happening? So Tommy said, Naim, how do you feel about that? He said, I feel fine. Because it's separate from how she treats me. Also, it's fine for her to invade his personal space and put her hands on him. That's fine as long as it's not you. Oh, okay. Actually, you shouldn't feel fine. You should feel nervous about this being a potential red flag and a look at your future. If we're really being real. So Frank said, you might not have had an aggressive encounter with her, but this is a pattern for her. Come on, Frank. Honey, you and your shoulders are growing on me. This time at this gentleman's lounge, Frank is giving what needs to be gave. I know that's right. Moving forward. So then Tommy asked about the red flags. Naim makes excuses for her. He's like, I've looked beyond the obvious to see what's really there. And she's very family oriented and has a good heart. Okay, just because she has brothers and sisters and she talks to them sometimes does not mean anything. And a good heart? Honey, good-hearted people don't behave the way that she does. I'm just saying. He's like, I've looked beyond that. Dontae is like, whoa, dude, are you not perplexed as to why she was putting her hands on me? Naim, wake up. Zadia has issues. She has a nasty disposition, and what she showed Dontae is exactly who she is. She's insecure and childish. So then Tommy looks at Naim and he goes, I would be in deep thought moving forward. Oh, honey, he won't be. He will not be. He said, I hope that Zadia doesn't go home because I have no other connections. Go with her the same way Camille did. Like, we can get rid of all y'all. Moving forward. Naim then says that he's not feeling Sydney. That's his least favorite. Her voice is annoying. So that alone for him is a no. Oh, child. That's a dig at Frank. I thought him saying that was a direct dig at Frank because he was speaking the real about Zadia. Like, come on, Naim, cut it out. Her voice is a little something different, but boy. So Frank said Zadia and Shiloh. Walter said Mumeem. Lame. Okay, Walter, that was lame. Phil said Mumeem. And that was that on that. It's time for the eliminates. Mumeem meets with Walter. Child, how awkward. She walked in with an agenda. She was like, I got some things to say to him. I feel like he came to declare his love for Sabrina and that he's going to be with Sabrina. I don't care if you're with a turtle. Me and you, we're done. Well, honey, he don't care either. I mean, if we're really being real. Over with Phil, he's meeting with Zadia. She's like, I put on one of my best outfits because I was on high alert. Okay, that's the best? Okay, girl. Okay. So Phil is like, I brought you here because of the date. And she's like, whatever do you mean? What date? Girl, you did it. Now it's time to hear about it. She said Dontae disappeared on the trip when Naim showed up, and he's always been a coward and not courageous enough to tell me his decisions. He don't gotta tell you nothing. You were dating around with everybody before you settled on Naim. I didn't really even see you have a big connection with Dontae. I mean, but child, then again, this season, I just really cannot grasp who's who. Back over with Mumeem and Walter, he's talking about the pool and him pulling away, and she feels like he was engulfed with all things Sabrina. He feels like she has a chip on her shoulder and she's eliminating herself because he's been consistent. Back over on the other side, Phil said, look, I'm going to play devil's advocate. She was like, oh, nah, don't be the devil. Girl, just be quiet and listen. So he's asking her, what could he have done better? No, that's not playing devil's advocate. Devil's advocate is you asking her, so what if he would have stood up in your face? Then what? Do you see how that behavior is unacceptable? Ugh, Phil, drop the ball again. She was like, he could communicate. Girl, please, you're going to be mad either way. So both women on these dates, they're upset. Mumeem is over here upset with Walter. She's upset over here with Phil. Phil just looking crazy with his mouth wide open. And Walter is trying to shuck and jive on the other side. Walter tells Mumeem that the guys felt like they have lost the connection with her. Back on the other side, Zadia is over there trying to justify her crappy behavior, saying, I gave him a good old black mom talking to. No, ma'am, honey, I know you don't have children, but honey, leave us out of it. Okay? We ain't got nothing to do with your erratic behavior. Child, please leave us out of it. So Walter's like, well, I wasn't mean mugging you and Frank. So they're over here talking about this whole piano room. They were once making beautiful music. Now they're into it as they get into it, child. Back over here with Phil and Zadia, Phil said, we talked and the guys weren't comfortable with that situation. She's like, yeah, but I feel like they would have said the same thing. He should have talked to me. Girl, are you for real? She's like, moving forward, I just have a little bit more discernment. Please send her home. Like, please, really, she should have been sent home in that very moment. As soon as that scene wrapped, she should have been on her way home. Like, she has not taken an ounce of accountability, not 1 ounce. Back over here with Mumeem and Walter, he's like, the guy said that you have the least connection, so the men decided you're still ready to love. So then they start talking about their sushi and whatnot. Child, moving forward. Phil is like, everybody has flaws and, I'm down for you. You just got to be mindful. He said, I care for you. She said, but the men decide that I'm not ready to love. See, this is the problem right here. He's like, how you going to tell me? She said, because I already know. Well, honey, if you know, then I'll get your little short skirt and your little half top and go on out the door. She's like, Dontae probably said, she's crazy. She's insane. Actually, he did not. Okay. He was gentlemanly in his response to you that evening, and he did not throw you under the bus in that gentleman's lounge. I mean, actually, he didn't say any of that, but he could have, and it would have been justified. But he didn't say that. See how your mind works? Girl, you need some introspective work. Child, this is a fool. Moving forward. Zadia, you're not ready to love. Goodbye and good riddance. In the next scene, we see Naim going to meet with nephew Tommy because Zadia is eliminated. So he's telling him that he put all of his eggs in one basket. He's like, so what am I really doing here? So Tommy is explaining to him that she also had a connection with Dontae, and it comes across as her connection with him may have made him her first choice. He said, it seems like to me, even more so because of the outrage, because it's like, why you getting mad when you got Naim? It was never about Dontae. It is all about Aisha. She is living rent-free in Zadia's brain. Shout out to Candy Burrs. She was mad she was no longer getting his attention and she was pressed. That's the bottom line. He said, if I were you, I would think, I'm second. He said, so what do you think? So Naim said, I definitely recognize it and I'm seeing the pattern, but I used to be the same way. And, I feel like she needs to do better at controlling how she reacts and letting other people pull things from her emotions. Look, Naim, okay, because it's starting to get on my nerves, okay? Listen to me. You seem like a stand-up guy. I appreciate you showing her grace, but she ain't it, okay? She needs to do some self-work. She is truly not ready to love. This is the one person that they eliminated that is truly not ready to love. So stop making excuses for her. So then he tells nephew Tommy that he's going to be leaving as well. Well, child, don't let the doorknob hit you or the good Lord split you. He said, I've learned to be more open because I'm really an introvert. So I'm knowing how to open up sooner. Naim, don't bother with Zadia. Don't call her. Don't text her, because I can guarantee you that this relationship will not last. Take your newfound little bit of extrovertness and find a woman that is simply nicer. Okay, that's as nice as I can put it. And child, that was the end of the episode. Y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about the explosive scene between Dontae and Zadia. I thought she was out of line. I thought she was volatile. I thought she was doing the most. Y'all tell me exactly how y'all felt. Tell me how you feel about the fact that Mumim and Zadia were both in the bottom. Quite frankly, I don't think Mumim's person is here. Like, she's a nice lady and I feel like she actually does want love. But girl, you can't like every man that blinks at you. Child, blinking and thinking. Anywho, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.